This is a tank that's super flat, and this is one that actually walks around. And in this video, I'm going to be building and testing 5 of the weirdest vehicles in the entire world, with each tank getting weirder and dumber to find out if these tanks should be used in combat. But to start, we have to go back to tank number 1. Okay, we're gonna start with arguably the least weird vehicle on this list, but to find it, we have to go to the land of baguettes and white flags, because it's France. And it's this, the Renault U3 Chinelletti tankette. Now, this tank doesn't actually look that weird, just kind of like a normal tank, until you realize this tank has no guns, and the dudes cannot even fit inside the tank, which is why it has these little bulges to protect their heads. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. That's a pretty vital organ you want to protect. Anyway, I built it using panel pieces for the basket, these tiny little gears for the drive wheels, and a baguette to eat the crew. Delicious. And you might be wondering what this tank is for, since it has no guns, and it's actually for quickly transporting white flags to the infantry on the front so they can surrender easily. Sorry, France. Okay, but it's time to test this tank, so what if it tries to surrender to this bigger tank?
Nope.
Okay, nope, bro did not sign the Geneva Convention. Okay, so that tank was not very weird and kind of just a lame tank, but that's okay because each of the next tanks definitely get weirder and dumber, including one that walks, so yeah, stick around if you want to see that. But to get there, we have to find the next weirdest tank, which means going to Germany during World War II. Because it's this, the VS KFC 617 Minenrahmer. Wow, that's a long name. And anyway, this is technically not a tank, but it's still super weird looking, so I'm using it. And I built it using this upside down building technique to get a smooth bottom, and this super complex building technique to get the absolutely massive pads. And for defense, it has this Panzer I turret with 2 machine guns. But the coolest feature is definitely that if you grab this knob and rotate it, it actually steers the rear wheel. Wow, peak Lego design. Now, this tank does look really weird, and that's because it was actually designed to clear mines, which is why the pads are so big and are actually impervious to mines. However, the only problem is that it literally had a top speed of 5 miles an hour on a road, and a speed of 2.4 miles an hour off-road. Yeah, you could literally outwalk this thing. So, no wonder this thing was never used. But that's okay because I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna see if it can survive a mine. Okay, I don't actually have any real explosives, guys. So instead, I'm gonna try an anti-tank hand. Oh wait, hold on guys, it's gonna take a few business years. Yeah, okay, I'm not sure any tank is designed to survive that, but this next tank could probably survive that because it's from the land of Stellanium. And it's this. Oh wait, hold on. And it's this, the Object 775. And it's a super flat and super wide tank. Like, this is actually one of the shortest tanks in the world. In fact, it's so short that no one can sit in the front, so both crew members have to be in the turret. Dang, this thing is so flat, it should be called the Pan Tank. And of course it has 0 gun depression, but that's okay because the tank is so short that it is the depression. Honestly, this thing looks like a real-life glitch. Like, when I first saw this tank, I thought it actually was a glitch. Oh wait, hold on. Reality hasn't finished loading yet. Anyway, I built it using double-wide Brickmania track links, this bar stud piece for the gun to angle, and this sideways technique for the chassis. Okay, so you might be wondering, why did they make the tank so short? Well, the answer is because it was designed to be as stealthy and as hard of a target to hit as possible, and even if it did get hit, it had some pretty good armor. So let's test that using this super powerful Nerf gun. Oh my gosh, it actually put a hole in the paper. But before I do that, I just want to say that if you want to help support this channel and the videos that I make, then please check out fistfulofstuds.com. We got lots of cool instructions on there, and yes, the instructions for last video's tanks will be on the store very soon, so please check that out. Anyway, back to the test. Wow, that literally did nothing except for break the gun off. Oh shoot, the turret fell off. Okay, honestly, I didn't expect that to happen. But what I did expect was the next tank. And to find it, we have to go to the United States of America and find this tank that has a really weird looking turret. Like, honestly, this tank doesn't look that weird, but the turret looks a little suspicious, but we'll get to that in a minute. And I built this tank 7 studs wide, and I used these thin Lego tires for the wheels, and oh shoot, I forgot the front slope. And the back. Oh dang, Anyway, you might be wondering what's going on with that odd turret, and you'd be right to be suspicious because this turret has a super special feature where the gun can actually raise up above the tank and shoot over obstacles with this auto-loading gun that fires dart rounds. Yeah, see, this was an experimental tank built to replace the really terrible M551 Sheridan, which is what this tank uses for the body. And it turns out that it would have been super effective in ambushing other tanks. I mean, you would literally have to shoot a gun from like 2,000 meters. Talk about stealth. Definitely gives the Sturv 103 a run for its money. But unfortunately, the tank wasn't much good at anything else, so it never got into service. So I'm gonna test it to see what it can shoot over. So how about a brick? Or what about a hill? Or what about another tank? Okay, nice. Now this tank is pretty weird, but the final tank is even weirder and definitely the craziest of them all. And to find it, we actually have to stay in the United States and take a short trip over to General Electric and find this monstrosity. And oh my goodness, what in the world of tanks? This thing looks so bad. Okay, technically this isn't a tank. It's a truck called the Pipulator that, walks. Yeah, this is super weird, and I'll get to why it looks like this in a minute. But I built it using a bunch of brackets, one of those strings to imitate the wiring, and hinge plates for the legs. Oh my goodness, this thing is so weird. Anyway, I also provided room for a minifig to stand up in and control this thing, because it was actually built to transport supplies across rugged terrain. And to control it, you used your legs for the rear legs and your arms for the front legs. But apparently it was so bad because it weighed 3,000 pounds, and the driver could only operate it for a short time before being exhausted. And on top of that, its top speed was 5 miles an hour. Honestly, a horse would probably be better. But anyway, I want to test this thing and see if it can walk. And since I'm a Lego animator, I'm gonna see if I can make a stop motion of it walking. This is gonna be super hard. But after a few hours of grinding, here it is. Wow, that just looks so wrong. But this thing is kind of cool because it's like the US military's version of an AT-AT walker. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this video, because now I got all these weird cursed tanks I gotta do something with. Check out fistfulofstuds.com. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll watch you in the next one.